green.
Oh, but Koa holds it around the outside, and he gets a way
he's
better
gonna
exit.
take it.
Pushing hard, already 3 wide into turn 1.
A little bit, and a group of Astons just piling up on him, trying to hold everybody off. Push him wide a little bit, but you can't make it stick.
Boonstra is able to hold the inside.
Got a little overlap, but he can't do it.
Ooh, and just caught it.
Mr. Sir and King are banging doors.
And we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SRA fans. This is your host, Austin. I'm joined tonight by Nate.
Hey, well, I am certainly glad to be here. And John
Hi,
Donahue himself,
the returner. However, not where I usually am.
from a distance.
From a distance.
From a distance, though, we are going to be commentating over the round 4 for Imola for D3. So,
Oh man.
go over a little track map while we got the time.
Crazy to me, it's already race 4.
It
Yeah.
is insane to think
Halfway
about.
through the season.
I know it.
Well,
It's wild.
Tonight, the drivers are going to have a little bit of a challenge going through this famous Italian track. That's 4.9 kilometers or 3.05 miles. 19 turns, going uphill, downhill, left and right through a lot of chicanes. A lot of chicanes here. Definitely going to see a lot of moves going into those chicanes. So turn 2, 5, potentially 14, and then maybe some moves into turn 17. So a lot of good opportunities for a lot of drivers to take advantage of. Let's see what do you think tonight?
Yeah, it's, Imola is one of those classic,
You
the
did not
exit
just
of
say
this
Imola.
turn, or Imola. Yeah, well,
You're off to a great start already.
the Italian course. But it's one of those courses where every exit leads to a really, depending on how that exit goes, kind of sets up your injury for the next turn. As you mentioned, there's a lot of chicanes, and it's imperative, I think, to have, especially in the wet, where you can't really cut the curves as much as you'd probably like to or feel compelled to. It definitely has an impact on the lines that you have to take. So maintaining the exits or the entry speed, going into a corner, I think is very important.
I definitely agree. John, quick synopsis of what you think.
I agree. Sorry, I'm trying to figure something out while I'm getting stuff set up over here on this laptop. Which, by the
You're all
way, I
good.
completely forgot that I would not have people's liveries.
Well, it's a good thing that you're not running
Yeah.
Pip tonight.
I got the
Yeah,
pip,
it's a
so
very good thing.
you're all good, man.
Well, I'm gonna jump over to driver and team standings since we got time. So Sam Reck still standing up top there, Mr. Consistent, looking to get that first win this season. I know it's been 3 in a row for P2. So, like I said, Mr. Consistent up there, followed by CJ Meeks bringing that Lexus home, and then you'll notice a trend after that. AMR, 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 AMR. So that's a very popular car by a lot of these drivers, and it's showing that it's strong on a lot of these tracks and can handle it. So we'll see if that trend continues tonight. As for team standings, Sam Reck and his teammate Super Dave holding a very strong lead right now, 507 to the Armamentario Academy Apex Hunters with 565. And then Tequila Sunrise sneaking in there at third with CJ Meeks and Curtis Lee, again bringing that beautiful Lexus around the track and holding P3. A lot of tight battles that we're anticipating to see throughout tonight, and the race will definitely have a bit of an interesting effect because it is raining. So that will definitely change the way some of these drivers attack corners and everything.
Oh yeah, it definitely will.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, is especially you got to keep in mind that you have to change that tactic over the course of the race. You know, as dry lines develop, you know, if the rain starts to wane a bit and kind of slow down. But you know, every night is different. We've had a couple of nights of races here so far, and our one last night's race here with a few divisions rather, and you know, track conditions were different for every race because it's always a random value, you know, as far as how is the rain going to kind of come down. Can't really predict it, so you just got to be able to adapt and think on your tires.
Oh yeah, I agree. Um, as we get going here, you'll notice something different about this week. There'll be some drivers that have their nameplate changed. We did have division realignments happen, so some drivers got moved up to gold and some got moved down to silver. So, like I said, you'll notice some drivers have a different nameplate. And then Nate, do you want to take us through how qualifying works?
Yeah, so as I understand it to be, it'll be a separation of the silvers and the golds. So you're going to have your silver division go out first, which actually gives the gold division a bit of an advantage in that the track starts to get a little drier over the optimal line. Um, you, I think, have a better chance of forming a gap in the second half as well. I know that sometimes, especially in practice races, it could be a little tough to actually get a good gap between you and the guy ahead of you. But practices or qualifying is huge. Obviously, you know, it's one of those things where it can really uh, get you off to a good start. As Will Buxton would say, you know, starting P1 is good because it means 19 other people are behind you, at least in Formula One.
Well,
So
here
in
it's more than 19. Here it
yeah,
is
exactly.
42. So
Right. So I have to agree with the wisdom of Will Buxton for sure.
Yeah.
He's the John Madden of F1, in my
I don't know if
opinion.
he's the John Madden, maybe the Joe Buck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go.
the John
But
Daniels. All my Rangers fans out there will know how bad he is.
Ooh, on baseball. Sorry, everyone. Baseball boring.
Wow, how dare you?
Oh,
Racing more
tarnished
fun.
America's pastime like that.
Racing is more fun, yes, but baseball is just a classic. How can you not like baseball?
I don't want to sit there for 6 hours and watch
Hey, they're
Hey,
implementing
only
new
3 minutes
rules
of
this
sometimes does
sport.
that
season.
happen. Yeah, by the way, all my baseball fans out there, I've seen that like counter in the spring training. It looks a little strange. It kind of reminds me of the counter you get in football.
Yeah, a little clock action. It's
Yeah,
so weird to
it's
see in
like 15
baseball.
seconds for the pitcher to throw his pitch, and I think it's like by second, like 8
Yeah.
seconds left or 7 seconds left. Batter
Now
needs
the
to be in the
batter only
box
gets
or
Well,
one
it's or just
timeout.
instant strike.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know we are talking about times a lot. Well, let's get on to Sweeney
Yeah,
here, who
that's
actually
true.
put it on poll
Let's
at the
focus on the
moment.
race. How about that? Sorry about that,
Ooh,
Austin.
I just have a disconnect error. Maybe I'll be right back in the server. Server don't like me today.
Hey, same. The server does not like my laptop, that's for sure. You know, I forgot. I don't know how I used to race on this laptop because it is getting the highest I've seen so far is 25 frames per second. The average is like 6.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how I managed to do that for over 2 years, but I did. Luckily, I was before SRA, or else my record would have been much worse than it is.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
All right, well, I look like I am back, so hopefully everything looks fine to the stream. Again, I apologize. For some reason, server has not been liking me in quality as of late.
It happens.
Yeah,
Oh,
this no
so
fault of your own.
since I'm out of town and in a hotel, I don't know how long my Wi-Fi will last. So how about I get my fun facts out now if there's no one that's way up on their time while we're just
There
hearing
is a
quality.
couple. We got Lorenzo, who's almost a second up as
Second
we.
up, yeah, looking good. Spaghetti. Was about a half second there. He's finding a little bit of a speed trap, I think, as I say
Yeah.
that. But
We'll definitely move Lorenzo up into P1. So let's see if he gets it as he crosses the line here. Yup. Good old 150.7. So
yeah,
solid
okay.
time that.
We see why D3 racers here.
Yes. I saw Ruzik also looking further down, also up a second, almost 1.2 as he's coming through these last few corners. We'll move him up quite a bit. Probably move him, I think, in the top 5. I can't do quick math. Don't ask me.
Hey, how far is that gonna push him up?
Oh, hey, P5.
There it
Nice. Your math was for the first time in a long
Spot
time
on.
correct.
Yes, it was. Any other Whitting Jr. Also getting up there with 7/10. So I definitely will see times getting better as the track starts to dry up. You can already start to see that dry line forming, so a lot of these cars are going to take full advantage of that and
Oh, yeah.
start ripping some fast times for the weather that we have right now.
Yeah,
So,
there's no question about that. And it kind of circles back to the whole, advantage of qualification process with being gold. Going second is just a pretty nice boon to have.
definitely, especially in the wet races here after silvers dry that track up nice and well for you on that racing line.
Exactly.
Whitting Jr.
Yeah.
coming around. He's getting in the last sector here, the last 2 corners. I see him up almost a second. Got
That
him in
said,
the-
John, I'm definitely I want to be privy to these fun facts.
Well, I'll wait for you guys to tell me what a good spot is, since that computer has already decided it just does not want to run ACC at all. So I got a good old fatal error. So
Oof.
Are you just
What-
sitting there waiting to give us the fun facts then? Like not even
no,
watching the race?
I'm watching it on my phone, so
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
little bit behind.
Oh man.
Well,
Oh,
we'll
Lordy.
have some time as the gold drivers get their laps going here shortly, so you
Oh,
can
yeah.
try to rush them out there.
They're not too long. The longest one is about 30 words. No, I'm kidding. It's not 30 words. I wouldn't do that to you.
I see Waleed here, 6/10 up.
Waleed.
That'll move him if he holds this into either P11 or P10, just depending on how much time he actually gains. And then behind him, Lee, that'll definitely move him like around, I think, P9 if he holds his time. So we'll see how he does through this tough sector 3 chicane, that little sausage curb of death, really.
Sure. Yeah, that one you got to be really consistent with your breaking point on that for sure. There's not really a whole lot of margin of error. I think it's 10 and 11
no.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
The
it
same way
is.
you are.
Not fun. And Lee puts it P11 right now, and we see Waleed only getting about 3/10 out of that. So sector 3 is one of those sectors that you just end up losing a lot of time in, just because, like I said, that sausage curb, you take it a little daintily around that turn.
Yeah, it punishes you real fast.
Well, we're seeing a lot of these silver drivers ending their laps here. And it looks like Dunham and Williams will be our last 2 drivers to get their hot laps in, as they are just entering the start of Sector 3 at Aqua Minerale. And there's already love for Waleed from his teammate Jess.
I'm sorry, what? Did you have a stroke?
What do you mean? Now people are starting to file back into the pad.
There we go. We also got Darren Robichaud in chat with the D4 race last night was awesome. There's
Gotta
also
love Darren.
do love him.
Oh,
Sean
yeah.
Daniels
Shout
also
out
making
to Darren.
vroom vroom noises at work, so
And
he's sharing
Sean,
love.
Sean's doing really well, especially kind of finding themselves on the podium pretty frequently, representing Ghost Rider
I
Racing
don't
real well.
want
So
to
definitely a
interrupt
shout
you
out to Sean.
too much. Dunham's up a second. This will second and 1.1. This will put him P1 if he gets this cleanly here. And there it is, P1 with
There
a
it is.
49.9.
149.9. Holy smokes. And the
So
fact that there's, I mean, look at that. What is that? 7 150s? That's, again, D3 at its finest right here.
well, John, let's hear those fun facts.
All right, this week's fun facts are about armadillos, believe it or not. So, the first fun fact I got for you is that nine-banded armadillo is the only species of armadillo that is known to live in the U.S. I didn't know
Armadillos
that.
are in the
I thought there were
U.S.?
more than that.
Yeah, down in like Texas and Arizona.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I just figured they were like strictly
Yeah.
native to Australia for some reason. I don't know. Big roly-poly animal?
Oh,
That's
they're from
Australia.
Mexico, my man.
Are they not
All
even
right,
Australia?
my next one is I don't know. That's a good question for some Australians.
That would be a fun fact to know.
The next one is still about the nine-banded armadillo, which is in the United States, but
Damn it.
it's that nine-banded armadillo can increase its buoyancy by inflating its stomachs and intestines by swallowing air. That sounds painful more than it sounds helpful.
I mean,
Yeah.
drowning versus floating, I'd take floating.
I would.
But
I think
okay,
he's
you
right.
say that.
I'm with
This is
Austin.
not one of my fun facts. This is not one of my fun facts. This is just something I looked at when I was trying to find for the fun facts. They can hold their breath for like 6 minutes, so it takes a long time for them to drown.
Still, floating above water versus under it, I'd take over.
You do have a point. You do have a point. All right, my last fun fact of this week is that only the three-banded armadillo, which is not here, can roll into a ball. So all the TV shows you see where the armadillo goes and rolls into a ball,
Damn.
the ones, most of them can't do that. Only the three-banded one can.
Only the three
I actually did know that one out of all the ones I knew.
I
that
didn't
one.
know that there were so
I
many
thought it
bands.
was any armadillo ever that could. I'm not gonna lie.
And here I was thinking that they were on the bottom of the planet.
No, that's kangaroos.
No, he was thinking it was in a place that doesn't exist.
That's what I mean, though.
Australia and New Zealand don't exist, according to some people. We're going to start the conspiracies while we're commentating.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, I'm going to get back to what's going on track as we start to see some of the first times come through with these gold drivers. Right now, I'm on board with Fickert, who has been going through his hot lap, and he is 7/10 up. And we see also Dupuis getting Dunham in the pole there.
149.832. That's ridiculous to me. That's crazy good.
Yeah, I definitely attribute some of that to what has been going on with the track drying up. That dry line has definitely helped out a lot of these drivers. Because you can't really tell from my side of things. It doesn't look like it's raining too much, but let me hop in with one of the drivers, and you can tell that it is in fact raining. I don't know if it's light or medium, but I would go on more of the light side right now. And yeah, that it's not fun if you are super close to another car, so making sure you're spacing for disqualifying is going to be very prominent.
Yeah, that's imperative for sure. You just don't have the sort of immediate reaction from the car, even if your reaction might be, totally within time. The car is going to respond a little bit later, so it's one of those things where the rain. I guess that's one of the many reasons why they call it the great equalizer, and how it kind of evens out the race. All it takes is that one wrong turn.
Yeah, that and some of these cars that can't take curbs have it equalized out because
Your
some of the
Ferrari.
curbs are just going to be deadly to you because
Absolutely.
they're slick.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Right now, I'm on board with Sam Reck. Again, Mr. Consistent. So let's see if he can keep consistency for today with the variable conditions and or get that first win of the season. As he's 5/10 up out of Aqua Minerale. I'm gonna butcher that name every single time. It's gonna be pronounced completely different every other lap. So I'm going to hear that in chat, and I do not speak Italian. I will even try to attempt to say the full name of this course because it is a mouthful. The Autodrome Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari.
Dino Ferrari.
That may have been one of the worst pronunciations I've heard of this track. I'm not gonna lie.
You're welcome.
Well,
that's what I do.
It's only because you haven't heard mine.
Okay, but all right, Nate, your turn now. You walked into that one.
Yeah,
You did
Dino
kinda do
Ferrari.
that.
Boom, baby.
Hell yeah! You just missed the other half of the track, but that works.
Yeah, I hit the point that matters though.
So for those that are wondering why Dino Ferrari, Dino is actually the son of Enzo Ferrari, and this is actually owned by Ferrari. This is Ferrari's track. Now, for those also knowing how the Ferrari performs in this game, it is not good here. So it is kind of ironic that this is owned by Ferrari, but the Ferrari is not prominently strong here.
That's hilarious.
Just because you're garbage everywhere, man.
The
Yeah.
curbs are not the friend, okay?
Yeah, I can't wait for Zolder next week. That's gonna be fun for you.
Zolder's gonna be so much fun. You know who's gonna be loving it? Probably Garrity in this BMW. This car is an absolute machine when it comes to curbs, and right now he's showing it being up 4/10, but invalidates there. Unfortunate.
Yeah, I've been following him from on the bonnet cam for a little bit. I watched him cut his qualifying position in half in one lap, just by going 7/10 up. I say just by going, but hey, this is D3. That's a pretty remarkable achievement to get 7/10, because he's been consistent even before that. So I've been following him for a little bit. He's real interesting to watch. It seems like he's pretty continuously, consistently improving on his time.
Yeah, and it's also tough at this track because that margin of error for track cuts is so slim, and especially in the wet, if you
Exactly.
step out of line, that wet tarmac, since some of it's painted, will just carry you out farther than you want to go and give you that track cut. So that's what a lot of these drivers are fighting right now, is not only the conditions, but that painted tarmac just carrying your car out too much because there's no grip on it.
Yeah, you find that oftentimes you hit that grip at just the right or wrong angle, depending on how you look at it, and it keeps taking you further and further away from the track. It sucks you in like a tractor beam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I don't see anybody dethroning Dupuis right now. Man's up 4/10, and the drivers right now are on their final hot lap.
You know what I'm gonna say if he puts it on pole, right?
Yeah, I know what you're about to say. You have to.
I have to. I'm gonna
It's the
wait for
one.
qualifying to end. Then when I hear you say he's on pole, it's gonna happen.
Okay, thanks for giving me the heads up so I can turn you on a little bit so we don't have the ear bleed.
That's what you think.
Oh no. Well,
I'm kidding. I don't know what will happen with this mic.
Oh no, did I have another? I did have another error. Oh no. Shoutcast it for me, Nate.
Well, from your screen, we're looking, I think it was Logan Schaefer, who nope, Schaefer was not the one who put it in the wall, but whoever we were watching put it in the wall. At least it looked like it did from your perspective. Now, that just may have been a loss of transmission right there.
That's exactly what that was.
Because I saw a crash.
Yeah,
but then as I cycled over to him in race control, it was like, nah, he seems alive and well. I think Logan Fisher's doing good. He's finding himself right now. in 7th place. He is trailing his own personal best by 7/10 of a second. Trying to best his PB at 150.162. But out of that, you have Anderson right behind him, who is doing a better job of improving on his personal best. And if he does, because right now he's at about 0.3 of a second quicker than his 150.272 suggests that he's capable of, he might find himself in the 149 range, and he does at a 149.995, and improving still. So interesting to see how we shake up the top 10 here in the last minutes of the qualifying. So as it stands, nobody was able to best Dupuis, and he finds himself comfortably at a 149.505, and that's going to be good enough for pole position.
Let's give it up for John here.
Zach Dupuis has taken pole position at Imola.
There we go.
There it is.
And of course, that's going to be the last thing I say, just because I figured out it's going to be damn near impossible to commentate from about 30 seconds behind.
Just commentate on the commentary, and you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, that'll go well.
That is unfortunate, my friend, and I am sorry to hear that. We will miss you in the booth.
I got in my my 3 facts and my Mr. Dupuis, so I'm good.
Yeah, I think things are going as scheduled, if I'm not mistaken.
Much, right?
This is all part of the plan.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys next week, and for all you people in the chat, I'll see you next week as well.
Good luck on the trip.
Thanks.
We wish you the best.
I was
safe
skiing
flights,
through the
man.
trees earlier today. It wasn't too bad. It was fun.
Yeah, that's a good thing, man.
Yeah, I did hook a ski on a birch tree, though. That wasn't very fun.
That's not a good thing.
We have to apologize to Jess. He said, please respect my eardrums, and I'm sorry. I did try to turn it down. I just may have gotten to it a little too late. And I apologize, Jess.
Too late.
I was trying to be on top of it.
Jess. And also, in his defense, this is a different mic because this thing is garbage.
Oh, yeah. I had to adjust the volume a little bit earlier, but...
Oopsies. All right,
hey,
everyone.
that you are, it's considering your location and where you're at and the equipment you're operating from, you did great, man. You did really good. I know. We were glad to have you here, John.
Glad to be here for the first 20 minutes of this. See you guys for the whole week next week.
See you, buddy.
Yes.
Bye.
All right, and with that, it looks like we are down to our last 30 seconds before the race actually officially kicks off. And I'm expecting some good things here, Austin. I think that we're going to see some pretty remarkable feats of drivership, if that's even a thing, a word. These guys are an impressive bunch. You see a lot of really good performances from up and down the field, not just towards the front.
I definitely agree. A lot of good drivers up and down. I wonder if any of them are sporting Go setups. Look at that. Good transition period. So Go Setups actually is a affiliate with SRA that you can go use the link in our Discord and or our site, which will help out SRA. And through that, you'll get setups for any car that is GT3. I think they might have GT4. I could be wrong on that one. I did see somebody asking about it today.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I was very curious. I didn't see an answer for it because I'm curious about the same thing.
And you can get pretty much every track in the game. So
wet,
they have some really
dry,
good setups.
Esports, safe, you name it.
Yes, they have everything. Like I think it's like 5 setups that you get in each bundle for each track. So good deal.
I use it myself, honestly. There was one I came from that was kind of an exclusive subscriber to until I went over to Go Setups, and everyone's got their own personal driver style, and I get that, and some setups are more suited and better tailored to other driving styles. But for me personally, Go Setups have tamed some tracks, especially this one right here. The Go Setup, I think it was exactly exactly my speed. So I definitely recommend checking them out.
I do as well. I highly vouch for them. Look at Darren Robichaud. Started using Go setups today. Look at, I know we were talking about it last night in the D4 stuff, so I'm glad that you made
Yeah,
the jump.
he got his hands on him, didn't he?
Yeah, so they've been helping out. Same with Coach Jeffrey's Academy with projections. He's also got the fantasy league for the race in D1 and D2, so he is all over. He's giving advice and also giving curses out for picking the winner. Same with Patches O'Houlihan.
Yeah, I was gonna say he must have been under Patch's tutelage, if that's the case.
uh, Joel, in chat, John, our John, that was just in the booth, did bring up a good point. The 5 hour, we're not done with this track this week. For some of us, we are racing 5 hours of Imola on Saturday. I believe it's starting 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So that will
Yeah.
be a fun race to get involved with.
Yeah, that's gonna be an all out, just no way to spin it. Blast, absolute blast. I would love to be able to participate myself. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be gone Saturday, but it's one of those things. I have never heard a bad thing about the endurance races. Only positive feedback.
Yeah, and speaking of races, we are getting ready. These drivers are now probably getting to the point where it's asking them to stay at the constant speed as we're starting to creep up to the start finish line. Let's see if Dupuy gets a good start. It's looking like it. Wait for it. We're waiting a long time for this one. There it is, lights out, and away we go.
And away we are.
Let's see how clean this false turn 1 into turn 2 is. Everybody seems to be doing well so far. I see a lot of traffic in the back there, as I believe that's Ficker going around the outside of Dupuy, getting the inside line, pushing this battle down into turn 4. Dupuy ended up losing a position, and now it's Ficker up ahead. So Dupuy not having the best starts, but I'm also seeing Aaron Anderson having a moment there into, I believe that is turn, Matt 7. Turn 7 there. Unfortunate.
Yeah, we get a bit of contact around turn 5 and 6 towards the back end of the pack.
Oh my gosh, I see yellow flags galore in turn 7 here.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of action forming. And that's the thing. One, on a skinny track such as Imola, you get one guy partially barricading the track, and it's bound to cause a huge mess, especially in the rain.
Yeah, definitely, and especially if there's spray. I don't know if you saw it last night. You cannot see anything in front of you. You're hoping that the car is still there where you're predicting them and you're stopping at the right spot.
Absolutely.
So
there's no doubt about that.
Look, gonna join Rec here, who is looking like he's gonna try to make a move here in these last few corners. Unfortunately, not able to get it done, but wanting to stick on the back of Dunham here, as he has that Aston Martin engine over the Porsche. But we'll see what happens with the rain tonight, because I know that it did equalize things a little bit for the Porsche versus anyone else. As he makes a dive. Looked like he was going to make a dive into turn 2 there. Didn't make it stick. Ended up backing out, but is now also falling into the clutches of Meeks behind. So he's also got to defend while trying to attack. So he's going to have a lot of fun here in these opening laps. I know, there it is. So for some of these drivers that ended up actually being in a lap 1 incident, this 55-minute pit window just opened up, and it looks like it's staying with us for pretty much the entire season from what I've heard. So there's a lot of strategy calls to be made, especially in this race with it being wet. Do I pit now, get clean air, Do I stay out, fix damage, all of that? There's a lot more going on in a driver's mind now with these 55-minute pit windows, especially if you're just stuck behind a car that has its elbows out forever, it seems like, and you just cannot get around them.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think that there's been some positive feedback regarding the previous use of such a large pit window, and that it opens the doors for a wider variety of pit strategies, which I think is a highly requested and definitely understandable request. And so, from my own personal experience, I like the idea that, God forbid, I biff it in early in the race, I can take a risk and repair the damage early on, and take basically satisfy my pit requirement at the same time, and then try to buck down, head down, and just keep it clean for the remainder of the race and come out on in
Oh
a
boy.
respectable position. Ooh, wow, yeah, I see what you're saying.
In that little chicane there, that last chicane, a lot of cars just sideways and some braking early, and it looks like Shea ended up getting hit from behind. So a lot of incidents happening early on here, and
Yeah.
you'll start to notice that there's still groups of cars that are together, which is amazing after
The
the first
whole
5 minutes.
group is still together. Look at the line
It
on the
is.
map. It's like the game of Centipede. It's literally taken over half of the map at one particular time. As it splits up now, who is that? 92, I do
Jess
believe. Is that?
Osborne, who had a moment in
Oh,
Luminarales, and I think
yeah.
also in the chicane.
That's where it started to split.
So
Oh man,
obviously, some
I
of
might
these
have
people
to try
opting
to
to
go
take the pit
back.
early and just start hot lapping and trying to gain positions that way. So definitely using this large pit window to their advantage, and we'll see if it pays off. Because I know last night those that pit early end up kind of losing out a little bit compared to those that pitted late.
Yeah, that's all part of the game, is that pit window, that pit strategy. There's a lot of time to be lost or gained, through your ability to manage your pit strategy.
As we see Dunham sticking his nose in. Oh, which turn is that? 60 and 16, I'm guessing at this point. I need a track map, please. But he was sticking his nose in. Actually, that was 18, I believe, and trying to get past. It looks like he is wheel to wheel, as we also see another car. I think that's Lorenzo getting into this fight. So 3 cars going down into turn 2, and there's contact.
Oh,
No, that
just a
is
little too, going a little too wide, where you go into that corner where perhaps you shouldn't be.
yeah. Unfortunately, Lorenzo looks like the bigger loser out of that one at the moment, dropping down from looks like P5 down to P17 and still hemorrhaging spots. Unfortunate. He's going to have a recovery drive of the century to get back up into the top 10 there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
But that little incident made Dunham get into Aaron Anderson. Oh no, another contact. Dunham is not happy. He gets turned around, but thankfully corrects it, so he is doing fine driving off. But that's 2 incidents in the same lap. He is probably just seeing a little red, but calm down, buddy. Long race. You got this. Head down. Love to see it. And see you do well.
No doubt about it. Yeah, it's the recovery, that's what separates, I think, a lot of the people who can just lay down a hot lap, but then also the people who can just stay focused throughout the entirety of a race. 60 minutes is a long time to stay as focused as these guys have to, and frankly, to be
Yes.
able to pull it off, especially.
No.
And just a little bit of a slid right off into the sand trap there.
And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, is these curbing and painted tarmac. You touch it, especially in the braking zone, you touch it, it's gonna carry you. You can't get the traction you need, and you're just gonna be gone. And we're seeing that a couple times here so far tonight, as we also see Logan's teammate Sweeney trying to make a move into turn 2, just backs out of it a little too far back. Played it safe. Good call. Eye it up for next couple corners, see what the car in front of you is going to do, and try to get past him later on.
Live to see another day.
I agree. Also, Sean Daniel saying that the undercut actually worked in D5. So that's good to hear that the undercut is working for some drivers here, which is good. I know definitely last night, some of the people that I was racing around with is it just ended up happening to not work due to some of the faster drivers. So every track and every division is going to be a little different.
Yeah, exactly. And even within the same division, just like you said, I think track itself is going to make a huge difference, just based on overall knowledge of the pit entry, pit exit. Imola's got a very, very short pit entry, so oftentimes I think that's easy to forget just how short it is, and so it may allow for a penalty or two, depending on
Yeah,
how
it
the
is
lineup
a
goes.
short entrance, but a long run.
It is.
I forget every single time I go in the pits. I'm like, this is gonna be a short pit stop. Never is. Why? I don't know why I keep telling myself that.
Right.
Oh, I see a little incident in the chicane here with Spaghetti. What happened here? I saw that he was closing in on the car in front of him. I don't know if that's Waleed or Jess that's in front of him. But is that Planny livery? Just overcooks it. Looks like maybe there was contact to create overspeed for the car in front. I don't want to make that call. But
oh no.
Both Spaghetti and it was Waleed ended up just cutting that chicane a little bit. So incidents happening all over the track. A lot of these drivers are struggling considering that it is different conditions than we're used to. Just we don't race in the rain that often, which is it happens. That's the way we set it up, and it's the great equalizer, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Like the drivers that are going to be top of the podium at the end of the season are going to excel here in the rain. So
I think it's kind of the beauty of it, though, is that it's a double-edged sword for those very drivers too, though, and perhaps that's where the equalizer terms come from, in that maybe those drivers, maybe that's where you get a chance. Like if you could be consistent on the wet track, maybe that's your chance to gain some points against those consistently strong and fast drivers.
I agree. And it's gonna humble you a little bit too, because you take one step out of line on an errant corner, and there's 3 cars that go past you. So the rain does put a lot of humility into drivers. I know for a fact I was humbled last year by the rain. Just ask Taylor and Bailey Kish. They saw me spin out a lot. So
I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties with the picture-in-picture here, trying to get that going again. Seems to be a little unresponsive. I think it's high time I upgrade my ancient machine.
Maybe if you're struggling with it, we can just turn it off, and you can help direct me to some good fights.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if I'm the only one who's racing on a compact Presario. I might be.
Oh,
It
and
certainly
the
feels
battle
like
for
it
the
and looks
P1
like it.
actually up the
Oh
hill.
yeah, look at that.
They are wheel to wheel. Plenty of space given, respectful driving as we see.
Absolutely.
I think is that Dupuy taking first? It is Dupuy getting back into first. And I believe that's also Wreck right behind him. So Mr. Consistent staying with the leaders.
Yeah, and Dupuy just kind of doing what he always does. Show how he can command a track and a line behind him and just maintain his line even under the most
dressing times.
Yeah, exactly.
And
man, I do love his livery.
I do as well. Pickard seems to have dropped back, so he's going to be put more on the defensive here by Sam. So let's see what Sam can do throughout these next couple of turns as we start a new lap. And, maybe we see one here into turn 2, because he is in that, I don't want to say dive bombish range, but it is a little bit dive bombish. But he's in that range where, as a driver in front, you got to always be paying attention to that. But he's keeping it clean as we see a driver off in the sand there.
Oh man!
But Sam staying on the back of Fickert in a nice, comfortable window. He's obviously going to be wanting to push to try to stay a lot closer to him. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like he is dropping back a little bit, unfortunately. So we'll see if that battle resumes here in a couple laps. I see Johnson back here with the ZDR boys having a battle with, I believe that's Lloyd. So they're in a nice little fight as they are coming through. Oh boy, where are they at? Turn 7 there.
Yep, on lap 7.
They're coming up the hill. Looks like Johnson had a little bit of a moment, and his teammate Roshkosh right behind him, chomping at the bit, saying, "Hey, maybe team orders come into a factor here. Let me pass. I'm faster. Fernando is faster. Let him by."
Fernando coming in hot.
Lorenzo closing in on Waleed here through Aqua Minerales. And up the hill, they're going to go into the chicane. I believe that is turns 14 and 15. Very Italian name. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce as well. Looks like Waleed had a bad exit. Lorenzo putting the pressure on. Maybe, but Lorenzo's putting the pressure on. Has that Honda engine versus the Porsche. And there is contact. They're both going off.
Oh, no. And the curb.
Oh, that is not what you want to see, but everyone behind them is going to be loving that. Some free positions. I also see Carbob making a move. A little argy-bargy saying, "I'm here. Let me in." The turn 2. Gets the move done. Don't know if that's not. That would have been Holmes. I don't think Holmes would have been too happy with that one. So we'll see what happens after the race. And, friendly discussion in the race review, which is it's always good. We do have the race review after. Great place to learn. Just dissect the race. So, very respectful. Everybody kind of being like, "Hey, what happened here?" Things like that. And jump on board with Meeks again, who is putting some pressure on. And unfortunately tonight, folks, the pip is going to be turned off. We're just having some technical difficulties.
For whatever reason, computers not being able to keep up with it.
Yeah,
I've had some pretty good luck with it in the past, but it's struggling tonight on the struggle bus for sure. But I'll tell you what, that's a shame too, because even towards the front pack, we've been seeing some good action.
There's been action everywhere.
Mid pack, yeah, no question.
So it's been good to see as we see Meeks here with that Lexus car. Let's drive on board here. Let's listen to that car as they go into turn 2.
Yeah, look at that.
Right
look
on
at
that
gap
bumper
right
of the
there.
AMR. Oh my gosh, you can see that his visibility is non-existent for the spray. He is struggling to see his braking zones, where the lines are when it's full of car and rain spray. So he is trying his best.
Yeah, and doing a damn fine job, if I might say, though.
I agree. Let's see if he can get a good run up here from the bottom of the hill. He is keeping it pretty tight. I do see an incident back there. You want to take a look and see what happened into turn 4, I believe.
go back to Anderson, second behind.
Meeks putting on the pressure as we go through Minerales and up the hill once again. I love tracks that do this where they take advantage of the altitudes. There's a lot of ups and downs on this track, so you really
Yeah.
the braking points are going to be different because you got to stop earlier than you're used to because you're going downhill because your car is going to carry more speed, or you're going uphill so you can brake later. It's just, I love when they take advantage of the terrain like this. So it's a good track for that, which is nice. As we see Meeks have a moment, unfortunately, so he is going to lose a lot of time on that battle that he was in with Sam. So he drops back 1.4 seconds back, unfortunately. Let's take a look at Felix, who's also putting pressure on. I know that you were about to say something, Nate. What were you saying?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say the with all the elevation changes and stuff, there's sometimes periods where it kind of reminds me of like a rallycross track, and it's just kind of fun to drive with the tight corners and obviously a little bit longer than one, but I'm a fan of elevation changes. I think it incorporates a little bit of a nuanced strategy, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to be really committed for a lot of those blind corners that you have going uphill or downhill. So,
right,
I think having tracks that have elevation changes just adds an extra element. Because I know, like, for example, last week we were at Brands. Brands had that blind corner as we see on screen. Someone have a moment into the sand there, which allows, I believe that is Felix to go by. Who was that? That was Dominic, unfortunately, of Park Ferme Racing, having a moment into turn 2.
Oh, no.
Sent it a little too hard and had a nasty sandcastle building experience with this wet sand. Well, Meeks, by the way, also putting in work. He is back to about half a tenth away from Sam right in front of him. So he is driving like a madman tonight. I know Martin's in chat. I know he had a good time in the Lexus as well. So it seems like the Lexus in the wet is an absolute beast of a car.
Yeah.
See if Martin actually has us muted or not.
Especially under Meeks' control.
I agree. He's been putting in work this season. You don't get to be in the top 5 for no reason. So he has definitely made that car his this season, which is nice to see.
Absolutely. And Lorenzo is steadily climbing his way back to the top as well. Finds himself now in 18th place as he goes beyond, I think, Levine. So gonna still have to battle to get beyond. I'm sorry, no, he is behind Levine right now. He passed Speed. Gonna have to battle to get beyond Levine and Spaghetti. And Spaghetti's doing a good job of holding them both off behind him.
Yeah,
He finds himself in 17th place.
I think that Carbot had a little moment coming out of the chicane. A little slide that could potentially cost him 2 positions. Gets a little squeezy. So he is defending as hard as he's allowed to. Keeps that position.
Yeah.
But it looks like he has a bad exit on that, which is allowing I believe that's Robert in to this fight. Also, he gets into the painted. No, he is.
And there he is going across the Imola paint.
Oh no, that just went from bad to worse in like 3 corners for him.
Yep. And that's, that I think what it was is responding to pressure. I think Almeida did a great job of putting that pressure on him and working to get around
him. And Holmes that put pressure on him. So he did not have any break. It was pressure to pressure instantly.
Yep.
So no time to mentally reset after losing one spot. He is immediately back into it. So it was unfortunate for him.
That's exceedingly important as well. Is how do you bounce back from those? That I think that's something that that keeps certain people towards the front of the pack is how well they're able to readjust, reevaluate after getting past. Just keep the head down. I keep going back to consistency and focus. I think that's a huge factor over the long haul of where these guys end up at.
You know what can help with your consistency? A good HUD that changes
Where
the
might I
way you see
find a
things.
good HUD?
That would be Arminatario.
Boom! I've heard great things.
I have as well. I highly recommend them because it does give you a little bit more in-depth HUD view of what you are doing with your car, so you can see steering input, throttle input, brake input. So we see Lorenzo. No, Lorenzo having a bit of a dive on Levine, just tapping him. At least he is waiting for Levine to get going. But
oh man,
that's unfortunate to see. But like I was saying, with Armentario bouncing right back into that, it changes the way you see things with your HUD, which is nice. So you get my gosh, incident happening right in front of me with Holmes getting affected by the pressure by Almeida. So he's now got to bounce back and focus right back up. Maybe he's got Armentario that can help him focus back up.
Yeah, he probably does. In fact, I know a lot of guys in SRA. Most of them, in fact, I feel like are using Armentario.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It also has a fuel calculator. It's only let me down twice by my error. So again, by my error. So nothing.
It does rely on accurate input. There is that.
Yes, exactly. I did not give it accurate input. So it once it has the correct data, it has never let me down on how much fuel I need to take for a race. So
I love it. I love it. As long as you do your part, it does its part.
Exactly. And
I don't think that's too much to ask.
Exactly. It's not. But we do also have in chat, Mark did point out that P3 is getting heated, and Meeks has been on the back of Anderson. Did Sam pit? No, Sam actually had a moment that we missed. So Sam going down from, I believe, P3 to now P6.
Garrity just made a move on wreck.
Yeah, Anderson had a little bit of a moment there. And so Meek jumps up to third, and Anderson goes down from having a moment. And Dunham back there seeing potential for some pass to get moved into. We see somebody going deep there, trying to pass.
Dave was making a move on Garrity around turn 10-11 chicane, but ended up having to go off into the grass, and Garrity was able to prevent Dave and Williams from getting around him, like right there, though.
Oh my gosh, there's battles everywhere. Like, cut to an instant on track. I'm going to rewind on that one because I literally cut right to it. This is Robert actually going into chicane. As you see a car in front of him have a little bit of moment taking too much curve, so he's a little slow on exit and just gets pushed around.
Oh,
and
it makes contact.
Car. Oh no, I think that was Lloyd that ended up just being a passenger on that one.
Yeah, just along for the ride.
Oh my gosh, it is. As Garrity, or not Garrity, this is Levine. Sorry, I apologize to the glazed and confused team. The liveries are too nice, and I get glazed and confused myself. He's in a fight with Petrovic, and he had a nice little move there into the last turn before the start-finish straight. Petrovic's looking like he's going to try to come back into turn 1 and turn 2, holding that inside line within that distance, but just backs out and decides to follow along.
Yeah, give Levine that space. I think it was a smart play. That's not a section of turns that you want to go wide with. So Levine's just kind of biding his time, waiting for the moment to strike.
Yeah, it definitely just helping to buy that time, especially in the wet weather. You might not be as confident on ascend, so
sure,
just kind of easing off on it.
Yeah, and I think that's the fun part about wet, though, is when you finally get to that part where you do start trusting the car and you start kind of pushing it to that limit a little bit, and then it's like sometimes you're wondering like, I can't even believe I'm pushing the car to this position, and it's pouring down rain. It's just
Yeah.
it's an interesting feeling. But you're right, trust with that vehicle has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. As we also see Anderson putting a lot of pressure on Meeks here. Just if you're on board with that rear view camera, you just see a nose all of a sudden taking up all of it. You get a little scared. So he's putting
Yeah.
on some good pressure here for start your systems.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You got Dupuis, Fickert, and Meeks all just kind of in a line right now, battling, trying to wait for their opportune moments, gain that opportunistic, that space to be able to make that pass. And so far, everyone's been doing really well under pressure. No one seems to be folding. They've all been within a relatively similar gap for about a lap now, which is pretty fun to see, especially in the wet.
Definitely, and there's close battles up and down this track. I think Jess is in a close one here, giving a little flash to the car in front. See, is that Ruzik? I think that is Ruzik as they're going down turn 1 into turn 2. Is tight there. Just gets on by with cleanly, just still following up right there and putting a lot of pressure on Ruzik. Just having pitted, Ruzik has not pitted yet, so it is a battle for track position, but at the end of the day, not fully, just because of Ruzik needing to pit. So just
Absolutely.
obviously wanting to get by. As I see a yellow flag on track, where was that? Meeks? Oh no, Meeks, what happened? Let's see what happened. I'm going back a little farther. I'm going back 30 seconds as we go down the hill. He passes his teammate. One of the start your system cars behind. Start the system car has a little bit of a dive, and Meeks and him touch.
Just a touch.
Oh no.
And then he drives away.
Took a little bit of time to get driving away, but he is now off and away. And no, as he gets back on track, he gets into another
a little bit
accident
more
back in the
contact.
sand. He's in the pits right now. That is
the worst feeling ever. That's the worst feeling. And he teleports right back to pits. Oh no. That's the worst feeling. When you try, you gotten taken out. Okay, you're waiting for your moment to make a safe entrance, and you think you have that time, and someone just pops up around that blind corner and smacks you. It's the worst feeling in the world. I've been there.
Oh, it is not fun to have that. I agree. So, as we see, get on board back with some of the leaders. Dunham here, putting a lot of pressure on Anderson as we see some blue flags into the mix. Since we do have that larger pit window, there are going to be a lot more blue flag conditions because of drivers that have pit early versus these drivers that have not pit yet. So a lot of mixing up of the field and a lot of playing that game of like, okay, I'm a blue flag, but I might be faster. I just can't defend kind of game. So it's interesting to see how it plays out this season.
Absolutely. Yeah, the blue flag, as you know, one full lap to, basically become subservient to the person that's blue flagging you and let them go by.
And we see Jess here again putting pressure on Ruzik throughout the lap. So we'll see if he can get it done into the chicane coming up here. For that Porsche, I almost said Ferrari. I see the Plan E logo on it, and immediately that Ferrari, even though they don't look alike. The Porsche has a little bit better brakes. I see contact.
Yeah, just taps.
Ruzik.
Was that Garrity a little bit?
No, I think that was Ruzik because that was a Honda, I believe, instead of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh boy, that is not fun. And with the larger pit window, it is tough to tell who is actually in, like how many places they've gone up. The yellow flags being waved. Who is that for? Scusa stopped on track. What happened
Oh
here?
no.
Going into turn 2, was it just an incident by himself? Looks like it, unfortunately. Just took a little too much curb on entry and spun it around and just ended up staying on track close to that racing line. So that's a lot of cars having to avoid him.
Good for him though for staying right where he is. You got to fight that instinct. You feel like you're in the worst position ever because you're right in the middle of the track. But the best thing you can do is just to stay put, stay right where you're at. As you see, it makes a wonderful.
Oh no! Oh
entrance back on.
no! On track, we see Moffitt just
Lorenzo.
lose it into turn 2, ended up collecting another car, and Robbie Toddy just saying, "All right, I'll take it. Free positions. Move on with my day."
I think that was Lorenzo that he caught, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
As Lorenzo was coming around just after the very first, or just going into the very first turn, rather, right after that little ink there, and just gets slammed, absolutely demolished.
Yeah,
Came out of nowhere. I can't believe how late. What car was it that hit him? Was that wasn't Fade?
It was Moffitt, I believe.
Moffitt.
What happened was he got on brakes and got a little squirrely on under brakes, and car went sideways on him, and that's the way
just
it goes.
demolished them. And Lorenzo and Moffitt both they're in the pits right now, unfortunately, probably repairing a lot of damage.
100%. That was a hefty hit, so I could see it being potentially suspension damage for at least one of them, especially where they hit. It was,
yeah, no doubt about it.
So we got 22 minutes left. As I see a car in the background there, having a little bit of a moment. That might have been a blue flag car. Going to the chicane. It was Lee. Took a little too much curb and lost it in the chicane. But with the pit window still open, the top 9 still have yet to pit. So Dupuis putting in some fast laps here as well.
Yeah, and he's already pit. He finds himself right now at number 10. Top 9 hasn't pit. Dupuis has pit. I don't think that he's gonna have an issue climbing back towards the top.
Yeah, and I will make a mention here with chat. Yes, we've had a lot of incidents, but we definitely preach keeping it clean. So that there will be, like I said, in the driver's briefing after, they'll be mentioning like what happened, going over it. That's one of the things that we do to help keep the league clean as it is right now. So it's a learning experience. Some of these drivers may not have had a ton of experience with Imola in the rain. It is a tough track. It is very tough to handle, especially with
technical.
A lot of these corners being super flowy, one going into the other. If you make one mistake going into the corner, that translates to 3 corners later for some of these corners. So being such a technical track, it is going to have incidents like we've been seeing today. So a lot of these drivers are taking it as a learning opportunity, and we'll be talking about it afterwards. So again, it is something we do to promote safe driving, is talking about it afterwards. So as we see here, Sam actually making a dive on Dunham. Doesn't get it done, but what were you about to say?
I was just gonna say none of these guys are gonna be harder about the mishaps on them than themselves.
100%.
That seems to be the common theme here. I think one of the many reasons, at least, why I stick around so much is that it seems like everyone just really wants to improve, learn, get better, and truly do learn from the mishaps and the what have yous that happen on the track. I haven't seen any real grudges or aside from if you have any grudge against Patches,
Patches in
voodoo
his
magic, and
voodoo magic. Yes.
yeah, then perhaps SRA is not for you. If that's the case, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So it's a good culture here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good battles between a lot of drivers, and I do agree. A lot of these drivers, especially myself, you're gonna be hard on yourself to wanting to improve to be better for the next race. So
Absolutely.
definitely see that happening. See Wreck. If we've been on board, I jumped away at the wrong time as he was making a move, but didn't stick. But he has been putting pressure on Dunham constantly here.
Just right there, constantly reminding him, like, "Hey, man, I'm not going anywhere. First mistake, I'm right there."
Yeah, and I remember Dunham did get promoted from, I believe, his D4, and so jumping from D4 to D3 is pace wise, it's a huge difference. Any division jump is always going to be a huge pace. Then you come in, you're like, oh, I'm top of my division, and then you get promoted, which is always a good thing because it says you're getting faster. And then you're having to immediately jump in and have to fight these guys and girls that are fast, like probably a second faster than the division you were just in.
Exactly.
And he is holding his own right now, and with that, especially that silver tag, holding it against a lot of these gold drivers. So that is a good status right there for Dunham holding his place.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You can't help but tip the cap to him. He's just been showing throughout this race a great semblance for just being consistent and not buckling under the pressure. That's the thing too. One may be able to throw down some consistent hot stints and get some consistent times down, but are you able to do that with a car within 1 second of you the entire time? That can get in your skull. That can definitely get in your skull and affect how you drive, how you attack angles. Maybe it makes you try to be a little bit more aggressive than you should. Maybe it makes you try to brake a little bit maybe later than is possible. And so to see how these guys are able to just maintain that steady line, especially in the wet, the great equalizer, all throughout, it's really impressive.
I'm also going to throw it to the reverse, being the attacking driver, because you're hot lapping and all of a sudden you're following a car. You lose sight of everything. You don't see your braking markers. You're not seeing your line correctly because there's now a car in the way. And so if the car in front of you makes a mistake, sometimes you're making the same mistake because you're following their line. You're trusting that they're following the normal line for some of this. So being the attacking driver, you can also make those mistakes where you're just like, you get a little wide-eyed, you see the door open, and then it might not have been open long enough and you have the door slammed on you. So
yeah, great point. I totally agree. Absolutely.
So
circling back to Dupuis over here, still holding down the fastest lap time, but finds himself at 10th place right now.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at a fight for 27th right now between Speed and Toddy. I joined right as Speed was making the move.
Oh, yeah?
Looks like he has the move done at the moment, but Toddy going a little deep into turn 7 here as they go up the hill, having two other cars behind him that are itching to join the fight. I believe that's Anastasi and Schmeitzer as well, wanting to gain some positions. It's as we see Speed go wide, along with, I believe, Anastasi go wide. They're door-to-door going in Aquaman one.
And Tony just goes right by him, finds a perfect opportunity. Just, again, like you were saying, waiting for that moment to attack. Tony's been there for a while and found his opportunity, and he took it.
And that is a tough corner to pass on because it is a commitment corner. It is, especially in the wet, a one-car line.
I mean, Imola, every corner is hard to pass on, really.
Yeah, that corner especially because it is brake, turn, immediately back into the brakes.
Exactly.
So it's a lot of trusting the car next to you and trusting yourself. So great move. by Robbie there. As we see Maxwell having an incident. Let's go back a little 15 there. As we're going down the hill into the last 2 corners. Carries a lot of speed into it and loses the back end, unfortunately, and having a fun sand trip as he also accidentally hits another car. But jumping back onto the fight that we were looking at here, Anastasi all over the back of Speed now. He's looking to eye up a move. He is literally on that bumper. Comes outside of the draft. Is he going to make the send? Nope. Just sticks behind him into this little chicane as well before going into turn 7. Looks like he just ended up getting too far back to make another move stick as we come back up the hill and then into, I believe that's turn 8. No, that's turn 9 that they're going to come into because for some reason the kink is there. But Anastasi looking like he has the move done. Up the hill, goes wide, lets Speed back in. They're door to door as they come down to the Aqua Minerale. Like I said, one line corner as Anastasi goes way too deep, cuts off the grass. Speed gets by. So that's maybe one of the things we did talk about is being maybe a little too aggressive and you start making the mistakes being the car that's following. So, you know.
Yeah, perfect example. A shining example of that.
And here he goes again, door to door with Speed going down the hill. He's now in front. Can he hold it under brakes as another car comes in, dives on Speed? I believe that's Schmeitzer. Diving speed. So Speed ended up losing 2 positions in one sector.
Wow.
So.
Oh, and a little error for Meeks there, as seems like he goes a little bit wide around turn 3, coming around, just hits the no cut a little tough as he's trying to retain control. Just kind of circles back into the sand pits.
I'm jumping on board for the battle for P1 at the moment between Rec and Dunham. I believe that our provisional leader did pit, so this has given them the opportunity to fight for the P1. And
yeah.
Dunham.
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, just Rec and Dunham right now. You have Rec just 0.4 of a second ahead of Dunham. And Dunham's just consistently been on his tailpipe, trying everything in his power to keep up at this point. I will say I think it's keeping up because it seems like Rec is just pulling away a little quicker, trying to get a little bit of a gap for him here, obviously. But I'm not seeing Rec get Dunham get much closer than within about 0.4 of a second, maybe a half a second.
Yeah,
as he goes to 0.2 right there.
Yeah, it is. Especially with the spray, you are not as confident with where you're braking because you're not seeing your typical brake lights from the car in front, so you're just gonna be a little more cautious.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, it's pretty hard to see brake lights in this game anyhow. I don't know what what the deal is with brake lights and why they're so dim. I feel like they all need to be upgraded to LEDs.
They are very tiny. Looking down the order, we'll come back to this fight. I see Garrity all over the back of Flores here. Garrity also being one of those drivers that's pit versus Flores not pitting. So Garrity wanting to get this move done down into Aqua Minerales. Looks like he does, has a lot of space behind him from that move. And yeah, I'm going to say he has that move done. Nicely done right there. Now he can move on with his day and go for Petrovic's up ahead. So glazed and confused, making some good moves and leaving the competition glazed and confused.
Dunham again, still that gap steadily growing between him and Rec right now. He's now at 1.3 seconds behind Rec. As Rec has to move around. Who is that? That would be number 39, Lorenzo, if I'm not mistaken. And does so successfully without too much interference. But Dunham still having to battle the same blue flags that Rec does as Rec fights to go around him.
Yeah, so there. But like I said, the larger pit window, there is going to be people all over the track. 'Cause I see Schmeitzer having an incident. What happened here, buddy? Going to Aqua Minerales takes. Just takes too much power on exit. That Audi will tend to do that. That V10 naturally aspirated V10 will just. If you're not careful on that throttle, it will kick you around and you are gone. Robert here chasing down Lloyd into turn 2. See if he can get this done. A little too far back, but well, he's gonna stay on the back of Lloyd here these next couple of laps, and look like he's gonna feint outside, but decides I'm gonna stick in the slipstream, follow through in the chicane here, and I have to move somewhere else. So goes a little deep, giving a little scare there to Lloyd as they go up the hill here. Turn 8 and turn 9, little turn 8 being a little kink as we see. I think that Rec is in the pits there. I see. Yep, Rec's in the pits. So one of the main leaders taking their pit stop now.
Yeah, there you go. He was, in P2 there for a good portion of that race.
Aaron Anderson racing Fickert on exit of pit. He is ahead now, so that race outside of pit wasn't long, but we see Rec now down in P7, so the P7, that means there is only 3 drivers ahead of him that have not pit, so he has a little bit of a drive ahead of him if he wants to get back into that podium spot.
Yeah, he does. I would definitely agree with that. I have firm belief though too that Rec can pull it off. It seems to be closing the gap between him and Aaron Anderson as he finds himself right now just, half a second behind him.
Yeah. You know what can also help you find half a second in the office? Documize.
Documize?
They can. They will help you improve your lap times around the office with document control and just help you actually close that gap on the time spent with everything, with documents handling.
I'm all about that life, especially considering that's primarily where I spend 8 hours of my day.
I'm in the same boat. Office, moving files from one folder to the next, making sure they're labeled correctly.
Right.
Documize, like I said, being a document control thing will help out with all of that. As we jump on board here into a fight right away with Logan Schaefer going into this last chicane. As we see the car in front, Holmes just taking too much curb, being greedy with it, saying, I'm going to try to save as much time as I can. Hops the curb, ends up losing a position, and probably a couple more.
Did you say that was Holmes?
Yeah, that was. Oh, no, maybe it wasn't Holmes. It was Holmes. The on-screen has not updated, but Holmes is now into P15, so that incident let Jess Osborne through up into P14, so our fearless broadcast leader doing well tonight, especially after he got moved up into gold. So I knew that was
good for Jess, huh?
Yeah.
A golf clap for him?
Yeah, there we go. I don't know if people at home heard that, but I did do a little golf clap. As we see Rashkosh coming out of the pits here, might have a little bit of racing on exit, unless that's someone, I don't know who. That's one of the Weehall cars behind him. I'm not sure which one. Looks like 27. That would be Carbo, who is actually racing him on exit here. So immediately into the fray upon exiting pits.
Well, how fun is that?
That is not fun. As I see Lee having a little bit of moment, I'm guessing it's going to be the chicane. I'll let you be. I'm not going to point on everything. But yeah, Rashkosh.
Dunham and Gino, who now finds himself in second place, still yet to pit. And so, pushing that pit limit window to its fullest. I like the strategy, especially if you're in the front. Why pit
Yeah.
early?
Well, seeing as some of our drivers still like in the top 10 have yet to pit, but looking at the ones that have pit already, it looks like Rashkosh is one of our big winners tonight, 14 positions. And then 14 positions being kind of the big winner at the moment of people that pit. It'll probably go up potentially 1 or 2 depending on how close he is to Levine and Petrovic in front of him. Because Petrovic's up 25, but like I said, needs to pit. So, and Gino's up 23, again, also needing to pit. So we'll see when they pit and where it puts them at.
Exactly. And there you go again, with the whole pit strategy. I think if you're in the front, I think the strategy is pretty simple. Just do exactly what Dunham's doing, pit late as possible.
Yeah.
I think he's making the exact right move here.
I think last night in the D4 race, the top 7 didn't pit until after 10 minutes left in the race. So they were all kind of following each other. And big winners for some of those people that decided to
There
pit
he
late.
goes. There's Dunham going into the pit lane as we speak.
Yeah, that's our provisional leader taking the pit lane as we see Anderson.
I'm going to keep it on Dunham. I'm going to see how he does in the pit.
Yeah, Wreck just got by Anderson just almost effortlessly, it seemed like. I thought Anderson there was a blue flag looking at it, but no, Wreck just drove right past.
Okay.
So I wonder if he had a bad exit.
Anderson's still in the pit. Or I'm sorry, Dunham's still in the pits.
Oh no.
Now it looks like he dropped. Maybe he did split fuel. It wasn't 30 seconds, so it wasn't tires. I don't think it was suspension or damage. So unless he was having some difficulties with the turning the engine on and revving it up. I wonder if he did split fuel.
Yeah. Well, someone that did have an incident though was Lloyd, and that he just lost it coming out of turn 9 and in turn 10. Didn't contact Robert at all, and Robert just ended up losing it himself as well.
Really?
So 2 people just driving hard next to each other and independently binning it on a corner.
Yeah, it seems like Dunham now is just picking up right where he left off, taking beautiful lines. Who is that behind him? That's Dave behind him, number 647. And Dunham just doing a heck of a job. Like I said, just maintaining that momentum and getting right back out into the swing of things. And Dave is doing everything in his power to try to be able to catch back up with him. And Garrity's right on Dave's tail. So Dunham does, he's got some guys that are going to be reminding Dunham that, hey, you're not out of the woods yet, and we're going to apply pressure to you.
By the way, Gino has finally taken his pit, so that means everybody has now pit, and we'll see where Gino comes out in these last 3 minutes. And
okay.
Reminder: this is a slow and long pit lane. I don't think it's one of the not the slowest pit lane, but it is one of the longer ones we have on.
It's got a short entry, but it's got a long exit.
I agree. So we'll see where this puts Gino. As right now
What's
he's
that cake song?
5th.
Short skirt and a long dress. That's Imola, man.
It's a 303 song.
I want a girl who gets up early and stays up late. Isn't that cake?
No, I'm thinking of a different song then. But anyways, back on track, we see Schaefer going into T2 here. Might try to stick it. No, just staying right behind Williams, just putting that pressure on. Literally a 10th behind going that second turn. But
and right there we have the pit window closing.
Gino actually 17 spots. I think him and Rashkosh and Spaghetti being some of our big winners of 17 and then 15 for Rashkosh and Spaghetti. So we'll see
I
if
just
those-
love Rashkosh's name. I just always want to be like Rashkosh Bigosh.
I
I'm
might
sure
be
he's
saying
heard
it
that
wrong,
all
though.
of his life.
Probably. But if you were to name a driver of the day, I'm going with Gino at the moment.
I gotta
17
agree
spots.
with you. Exactly. Yeah. Talk about a comeback. Gino put up a hell of a fight, had to battle, obviously, all kinds of pretty crazy conditions. 17 spots on a wet Imola in D3, I think, is a hell of a crowning achievement. I gotta tip my cap.
I agree. He has had a race, especially with how long he stayed out. But he's not out of the woods completely, as Garrity is within that second mark of him. So he does have a little bit of pressure behind him with the minute 20 left. With the lap times that we're seeing, it's going to be really tight if we get one more lap. And I think we're going to, just based on where I see what the leaders are going into turn 7 right now.
Yep. As Garrity goes around, I think that was Lorenzo, if I'm not mistaken. But Lorenzo, you gotta pour your heart out for. He had a bit of an upsetting race due to the circumstances with the contact and what have you.
Yeah. Well, looking at our top 3 of Dupuis, Fickert, and Rec. Unfortunately, Rec's not going to be able to keep the consistency of P2, it looks like, unless he can get 3.5 seconds here in the next lap.
That's a tall order.
That is a tall order.
Especially
at
at
least it's
150.
consistent for podiums so far this season, which is always fun. And that's a good chunk of points to be scoring.
Yeah, no
week.
question. No question.
That,
you're looking at, what, 90-plus points every week?
Yeah. Well, looking back through the entire race is like Meeks won week 1 for gold, Anderson won silver, Fickert won gold, Moffitt won silver at Misano, Shea won gold, Speed won silver. So one of the main consistencies that I've seen has been Rec, and the leader has finished last. Dupuis taking P1, Fickert P2, and then Rec looking like he's going to take P3, but Anderson's right there on the drag race.
Oh, he was getting desperate for it, wasn't he?
He was, and then that, I believe, would leave Dunham as our silver driver. So Dunham taking P5 and P1 for silvers. So good drive from him today.
Yep. No doubt about that.
Favor also in the drag race as we come
some
down to the
victory laps over there from Dunham, if I'm not mistaken. A little victory donut, half donut, if you will, croissant, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of semi drag races to the line here, and yes, 3 AMRs in P1, 2, and 3. Thank you for pointing that out, Sean.
There you go,
Sean. So
Ooh,
as we see Zodi Fade having an accident here on the last lap, that isn't unfortunate.
No.
But if you finish the race, that is the same position, P29. I know that it says P28 right now, but there have been some drivers that have left. So Schmeisser here looking like he is going to have a drag race down to the line here with Speed. That Audi power, able to get down on the power so much quicker. So let's see if he is able to hold it. And it looks like Speed is going to hold this. Unfortunate for Schmeitzer and Maxwell, both behind them. So,
as you see, Fade still working his way towards the finish line after a slight oops there on the very last lap. I mean, that's a demoralizing feeling. I've been there for sure.
Yeah, that is a little bit demoralizing.
And there it is.
But they all finish. Just to recap, it was Dupuis winning gold for this race, Dunham winning silver down in P5, and then Gino. I'm gonna give Gino the driver of the day. That was a great race from him. So we'll see if they end up joining a server soon. I'll let you try to find them and maybe pull them up.
Alrighty, that'd be my pleasure.
If you see other people, just put them in the cooldown room so that way they
Yeah,
at
I'm
least
looking
have a
for a
place to show up.
Gino, a Dupuy, a Dunham.
Yeah, I'm able to join you now. We
Let's
done
see,
them. I'm
none
not
of them
seeing them.
so
Well,
far.
as we continue to look for them, though, overall, a tough race for a lot of these drivers being in the rain. It definitely equalized a lot of cars today, and you could tell that some of the drivers were having a little bit of incidents. I do see Dupuy in
Yeah,
chat
I was
now.
gonna say I could pull up Dupuy here. I did.
I'll
He
pull him
just
into the
popped in.
cooldown real quick, so that way we're not just gonna pull him in. RG
I
Bargy.
like it.
All right. Well, everyone, this is your overall race winner, Zach Dupuy, that we're about to pull up. Hello, Zach.
Hey, how's it going?
How you feeling,
Fantastic.
man? Vindicated. I finally did a pick correctly.
There you go. Yeah, that's always good to hit a pit. I remember struggling for a while myself, and once you finally nail it, it's that chef's kiss.
For sure.
You think that was the final piece of the puzzle that you had to put together to get you on top of the podium like you find yourself right now?
Yeah, for sure. I'm getting some pointers from Moni over here, the D1 driver now. So get that extra pace going.
Absolutely. You put on a hell of a show tonight, man. You were very consistent. You kept your lines real optimal. Obviously, that's one of the ways that you find yourself in the top. But you were also pretty damn fast out there. You set fastest lap, fastest qualifying, if I'm not mistaken, and you were overall just able to hold down that fort over the course of an entire 60-minute race. Not just proving that you have what it takes to be quick one time, but a lot of times. So, what's your strategy with that? You just kind of buck down and focus, or it was the whole pit thing, like you were saying? What's going through your mind?
Honestly, just trying to ignore the little green bar at the top left as much as I can.
Yeah,
the Delta
chasing
strikes
the
again.
chasing the dragon a little bit sometimes when you look at that.
For sure.
But how was the conditions out there? As a driver, it's going to look a little different than what we see on the commentary booth. So, what were you seeing out there with the rain and everything?
Honestly, not too bad. It seemed like the start of qualifying or in the free practice, it was pretty heavy, a lot of motion on the track. I was wondering how tough it was going to be, but it ended up being towards the end pretty nice.
I love it.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, just able to kind of fight your way through that. And was there a point at a time when you were like, "Oh man, this is the make or break moment for the rest of the race right here"? And I mean, from what we saw in the spectators booth, it was all make moments for you. But was there any time that you saw that you thought that it may go the other way?
Oh yeah, definitely. Ficker was able to get past me on the start straight. I think I double shifted from fourth to sixth on accident, and he's able to get around in the turn one, and Rack was right behind him, so I potentially could have gone from first to third, and then really had to deal with that spray. I was able to kind of do the cut under and get back around him. I think that was pretty critical at that point. I could have gone to third there.
Yeah, that was a hell of a sight to behold.
Yeah, but overall, good race, and glad that you finally got the E1 that you've been looking for all season.
Appreciate it.
And also, thank you for being a good sport with Dupois and versus Dupuy.
I love it, man. It's great. It's great.
yeah, you're a champion, man. Hey, you got a P1 podium finish under your belt now. You're up there with the best of them. You're in D3. I mean, that's got to feel real good. You got to feel real strong after that finish, I would imagine.
For sure. I just got to drop that Masana around and we'll be back in it.
There you go, man. I'm right there with you, too. I'm right there with you. That's my drop. Hopefully the rest of them go strong for me.
Yeah, same.
Well, we'll let you get back to the race review, so I'll drop you down there so that way you can.
And real quick shout out to my buddy Kellen Brower. He's our team leader. Start Your Systems. He's at 100K on YouTube. So shout out to
I
him.
love it. Hey, shout out. Hey,
Yeah.
where can we find what's his link? Where can we find his YouTube at?
So
Love to
YouTube,
scroll.
it's Start Your Systems, just like our team name.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
And he's
Make
also
sure to
on
check it
Twitter and
out.
all the socials for sure.
All right. Shout out to Start Your Systems. Yeah, you heard it here first from your D3 race winner, Zach Dupuy.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I do have Dunham. We'll get Dunham first because he's our silver winner. So I'll pull him up here. Colin Dunham, welcome to the booth.
I don't even know if he was he might have just been a silent participant of the race review there. I see his mic is still muted. Hopefully he can hear us here trying to call him out for a little bit of a spotlight, but if not, hey, totally get it, totally understand, Colin. We're just hoping to see what your thoughts were as you put up a hell of a show on tonight's race with taking the D3 silver gold, if you will.
E3 silver gold, that's a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm here. I was trying to get my mic hooked up.
No worries, man.
you're all
No
good.
worries. Hey, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Oh,
as you see, he's still
still
getting that
setting it
mic
up.
a little bit dialed in, a little bit tuned in. I think we got him back though.
Sorry, am I in the wrong room or something?
No, you're in the exact right room. You got pulled up. We wanna talk to you about the performance he pulled on tonight.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, it was a hell of a show. An absolute hell of a show. You took D3 silver, first place for D3 silver. Was that in your wheelhouse? Is that what you're expecting? Did you set out tonight knowing that was going to be where you landed, or what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I guess I've had some good runs in quali and practice races previously, so I was trying to get at least on the podium and try to do my best.
Oh yeah, I'd say you did a damn fine job at that, considering you did find yourself on the podium.
Yeah, I know that. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. You started in D4 and now you're in D3. If that's correct, how was that jump from pace wise? Because I know it can be sometimes just mentally blocking and a challenge, especially when some of those guys that you were racing beforehand, and now you're now up in an upper division, and it's a second faster.
Yeah, that's true. It was a sudden change. This is actually my first season in SRA, so I kind of put in a really quick hot stint to qualify, and it probably wasn't my best. So I probably should have ended up D3, I believe, but I was surprised when I got moved up, and I was on my own, and I had to fight. Do my best, and with a lot faster drivers, and they certainly are.
But yeah, hopefully this continues up because that shoe is still up for grabs, especially with silver. So we'll see what happens towards the end of the season here. Well, maybe you'll be a mainstay.
Yeah, I'm planning on too. I'm loving the series and all the other drivers here. It's been a lot of fun so far.
Love it.
Well,
love it.
Do you have any closing remarks before we send you back to race review?
Any shout outs or anything like that?
I don't like rain. That's
Fair
about
enough.
it. Yeah.
I
No,
know a
I
lot of
just
people would
I
agree.
appreciate the drivers are all being kind of behaving, and there's a lot of drama, but people are obviously trying to keep it clean, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's
well-
what SRA is about.
Yeah, exactly right. We all appreciate you appreciating a clean race environment and also participating in that effort as well. So, way to put on a show.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks,
I'll
Colin.
move you down so that way you can get back to it. All right, so that was Colin Dunham. He was our, like we said, silver winner. Good guy. Like I said, he moved from D4 to D3, so huge improvement. Glad he got that podium for silver.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
next up, we have Mike Gino, who is our driver of the day. DOD. Let's get him up here.
Ooh.
Big old Mike Gino.
There
Welcome
he
to the
is.
booth.
How's it going?
Hey, driver of the day. Right?
Oh yeah.
17 positions gained. Was that the number 17, Austin?
I believe that's correct. 17.
Didn't feel like it. I feel like I didn't pass anyone. I just kind of stayed out of trouble.
He didn't even notice it. That's how effortless
No.
it was.
No, it was
Sometimes
easy.
that's all you need to do. Is just stay out of
People were
trouble
just
and
in the gravel. I'm like, okay, there's another one, and there's another one. Yeah, it was
So-
pretty easy.
You say that, so I take it that when the race was finished, you didn't really know how many people you ended up passing.
No, I mean I knew I qualified pretty poorly, and so I had the lead when everyone pitted at one point. So I knew I'd come out somewhere like roughly top 10, but I had no idea where I was going to come out. So it was nice to see that it was still in the top 10. But
Yeah,
there was only one real pass besides the start. Only one real pass on track, so it was a pleasant surprise for sure.
There you go.
yeah, you definitely let the pit strategy help you out today. You stayed out the longest out of everybody. You were literally the
Yeah.
last driver to pit today.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, there was no one in front of me for once I got by Williams, which was an awesome battle the entire race. But once I got by Williams, it was just clean air, so there was no point in coming in until as late as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Yeah,
worked out in your
I would have
favor.
been in the same boat. At that point, it's just you got warm tires, keep them warm. You got clean air, keep it clean.
Yep.
Just keep driving.
Yep. I was worried about the tire drop in temperature. I didn't want to come out right like in front of Williams again and just struggle out the gate. So I was trying to go as long as I could in case I needed to defend.
Yep. I think it was the exact right move, as evidenced by your overall performance tonight.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice ride. Also, shout out to Bailey Kish. He was in our me and my teammates group chat.
Bendy
or,
Brew.
voice chat.
Yeah, let's go, Bendy Brew.
So he was keeping us calm and watching us, so that was pretty nice.
Nice.
He does
Nice.
have
Yeah,
a nice
he's-
calming voice.
He
for
does,
sure.
doesn't he? I was just gonna say that he's got a very, very soothing voice.
Yep, it
Calming
was
allure about him.
nice to have him. He ditched his D2 race today, so he
Oh
could hang out.
no.
Well, he didn't do it on purpose to hang out with us, but
Well, I know I think he's been traveling lately, so
yeah, he got home like 10 minutes before the race, so he
No kidding.
he couldn't hop on in time.
I mean, fair enough.
I'm not complaining. It helped me
Yeah,
out, I think.
yeah.
So
yeah.
Your bendable, foldable, pourable solution for coffee, Bendy Brew. Sorry, quick shout out there.
yeah, everyone shop bendybrew.com.
That's right.
Respect the grind of
Big.
for the brand Bendy Brew. It's on
I'm
every car I seem to be driving against this year.
I'm not wearing my Bendy Brew t-shirt today, but if I was, I'd give him a shout out that was the reason why I did so well.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
always good
driver
to
of the
hear.
day. No
Well,
doubt about it. Well, hey,
if you-
congratulations. Excellent discipline and performance out on the track tonight. Thanks for putting on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
We'll get you in the right chat so that way you're right back into it.
Thanks. I got it.
All right. Yeah, that was Gino, who was our driver of the day. Good guy.
Yeah.
Glad that Bailey Kish was able to help him out, calm him down. You know, it's always good when you have another driver there to.
Yeah. That's
Keep
my
you
fearless leader
focused.
right there too. Is Bailey Kish. So I definitely, as soon as you said that, I'm tipping my cap.
Yeah.
Bailey Kish.
But two things before we sign off. I do have two last sponsors. We have Track Racer, so they have everything for your needs for sim racing, all your 80/20 aluminum rigs or other rigs that relate to both sim racing and flight simulators. So they have a multitude of things that you can get from them that relate to both things. So overall, a good brand. We are affiliated with them as well. So if you find it on our Discord or our website, there'll be links to take you to the website and everything, and use the codes and everything. Then
Yeah,
our
I'm
other
about to
one
get
is
in the sim racing game myself, or sim racing.
rigs.
Yeah, if you didn't know,
Yeah.
sim flying. So I didn't know that they did sim flying rig. So I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna check them out for
I
sure.
did shop, and they are really cool to see. I just don't have space for it, so eventually when I get space, I might use Track Racer. They
That
have a
seems
lot of
to
good quality
be-
stuff.
Yeah. The counter
Then the last one is Retro Saga. So anything that you want for retro games, so like N64, SNES. I say SNES. My friends hate me for saying SNES.
And I get made fun of for saying GIF.
Yep. So it's SNES, NES, things like that. They have all of the gaming needs for that. And then lastly, I also want to shout out our weekend sprints that we have going on.
Yeah,
Martin
for sure.
Riggs has been
yeah
putting work in for that. But
absolutely, yeah. He's been busting his chops trying to get that, doing a great job of running those shows, and everything I've heard has been positive regarding it. So definitely shout out to Martin Riggs. Because that's the thing, everyone here volunteering their time. Anytime, you have the weekend races, the exhibition races, the endurance races, the weekly championships. So big shout out to the guys that make it all possible. So tip of the cap to Martin Riggs as well. And if you haven't already, the exhibition race, sign up. No
sign up required actually on our Discord. Just show up and race.
Yeah, well, yeah. Great point. No, that's excellent point. 100% right. Just go race. Go race if you're thinking about it. If you're on the fence, perfect opportunity to go, get your feet wet.
Yeah, well, as we shout out the last things here, I'm just gonna wrap it up. It's a good race overall. A lot of good battles. Rain brought a lot of good fights into the mix. So thanks again to all the drivers for providing the entertainment and allowing me to say words very poorly week in and week out. And thank you again to the admins for everything you guys do. So appreciate everybody coming out tonight, putting on a good race for us.
Yep. Hey, thanks guys for stopping by. We appreciate it.